So, a warm welcome back to the Forensics Detailing channel. As always, do not forget to subscribe. So, in this video, we're going to be covering all of the detailing chemicals, mainly, that you need to wash a car or fully detail a car from start to finish. This is a complex video. The aim of it is to simplify everything I've learned over the last 10 years of comparing virtually all genres of detailing products and picking the ones which kind of I think are personally the best. It's getting harder and harder to do because there's just so many brands now. What I tend to look for is expertise, value, and performance that I can notice over other products, and that's kind of what I think I've got here. Now, before we get started, just to simplify this, it's really easy, and I always like to break detailing products down into 4 categories: wash categories, decontamination categories, abrasive or polishing categories, and final stage protection categories. And there can be a bit of crossover between some of these products. They can fall into 2 or 1 or more categories, etc. Let's start with the products, your core products that you need to wash a car. Now, there's a holy trinity that I think you can't be without, and that is pre-wash snow foams, contact wash shampoos, and all-purpose cleaners that you can, water-based cleaners that you can use to kind of get off grime in all different places, engine bays and all that sort of stuff. So let's start with pre-wash. So if you watch the channel, you will be aware that my favourite pre-wash is Bilt Hamber Touchless. So my requirement for a pre-wash is that it is powerful enough to noticeably soften down dirt films to the point where if you use this pre-wash on a car with heavy road film and you pressure wash off afterwards, you feel like the car is almost clean. Never 100% clean, but you really feel it stripping that back to a clean panel rather than it's stripping some off, but you're never sure how much of that is the chemical or the pressure washer. And then when you've finished, you've still got a film of dirt on the car, which is something I think you can see with a lot of milder pre-washes. I don't personally want that. You could argue that they're more protection safe and they should be milder. No, the pre-wash should cut through the road film so that my contact wash is easier, more effective, and I'm rubbing around less dirt. It's a fundamental principle that I have. I also do not want pre-washes to contain any caustic materials, because if you're using them week out on cars, they can have a degrading effect on clear coat, on rubbers. If they dry on certain surfaces, they can leave like white stains. You may have seen that with some caustic stuff. They can even, really strong caustic cleaners can even strip lacquer off headlights. I've seen it degrade that, and I've seen all sorts of problems. So I don't want caustic biting materials for regular use on my cars. So Bilt Hamber Touchless is the way to go. It's reasonably affordable, I think, about £30 for 5 litres with a minimum usage of roughly around 65 mil in a litre lance to give you a PIR, or give me a PIR of about 0.5%, all the way up to maybe 200 to 250 mil in a lance with a litre. You know, fill it up to the top with water, so you've got overall solution of a litre. So 250 mil would roughly give me a 2% upper limit PIR. Overall, I've never used a full litre of solution. I'd only get through 400 to 500 mil. So it's still reasonably affordable because of its concentration now. But it's not bargain basement. It's not like £10 for 5 litres. But at the moment, it's still affordable, I think. So Bilt Hamber Touchless, I think you'll struggle to beat that as a pre-wash for all the reasons I've just said. It's unique as well. It's a real thick sort of biodegradable sugar-based surfactant, which is kind of cool. And it's free rinsing, no cationic film, no solvents in it, all that sort of stuff. So it's quite a environmentally friendly product. Normally with environmentally friendly, you think the consequences, you lose a bit of the horsepower or the grunt. Not with this product. Very effective on road film. The next thing, your contact wash shampoo. Now, really, for me, we've shown you some contact wash shampoos from manufacturers like Chem and Achem that the price per wash is as low as you'll get. You can get down to about 3p, and they're foamy, lubey, soapy, simple surfactants that offer great value. I'm probably going to recommend to you that you use the Bilt Hamber Auto wash, mainly because I think of the pedigree they have around surfactants and perhaps the anti-corrosive properties of their surfactants as well on cars, especially if you've got older cars where corrosion can be a problem. There may be some advantages to using it. You're going to struggle to see it, but it probably is there. That's what they're all about, anti kind of corrosion. The cost per wash of auto wash, because you use 1 to 2,000, so it's a mega concentrate, is roughly around sort of like sub 20p cost per wash. So it's not bargain basement, but I felt the price differential wasn't enough for me to perhaps use those trade shampoos, but it wouldn't really make any difference. But yes, why might you not like auto wash? Well, it's not like a sort of like nice colour. It's not like vivid red. It doesn't smell of cherries. It has no scent. It's when you use it as specified at low concentrations, it's not particularly foamy, but the foaming level doesn't affect the lubricity. You can foam it up and put a bit more in, but you have to be careful with high concentrates, not over concentrating them too much, because you know you're scaling everything. If you're using 10 mil and then you double it to 20 mil, you will be over concentrating it. So you have to be careful over concentrating. So I just trust it and use it, but it's not the most glamorous shampoo and it's not exotic with all the scents and all that sort of stuff. Functional product that offers good affordability. I use it because of the pedigree of the brand really, and it ticks my criteria for saving me money. The next product that we talked about recently, the all-purpose cleaner. Again, there's a Bilt Hamber theme here. I think Surfex HD for £18 for 5 litres, non-caustic, surfactant-based, water-based APC/degreaser. Yeah, just until another APC comes along that's sub £20 and has the same characteristics, but might have an advantage over it. There might be a more powerful one. I doubt it. I don't know. But until that one comes along, I would never move from Surfex HD because it's the product I use the most. I use it for cleaning alloy wheels, tyres, engine bays, interiors, low concentrations for wiping over dashboards and, you know, just wiping leather down with it at 1 to 100, and you can use it in extraction systems. It's great. So we've got like a theme there with our 3 core products all from the same brand, and I kind of like that. So like I say, for me to move one of them out, maybe the contact shampoo, the fact that I've got all 3 from the same brand is a little bonus, I think, for me in terms of my kind of thinking. Now, the next product, when you're washing cars, you need a wheel acid every now and then for wheels that are just baked on with that brown, corroded brake dust that's just dried and bitten into the car, and it's gone through multiple heat cycles and it's embedded. And even fallout removers won't touch them. We know that. The really bad alloy wheels that haven't been cleaned for 5 years, 10 years, they're out there. This older Wonder Wheels acid is one of the most powerful on the market, made by Tetrasil. And I've always used it because it's extreme power, but I won't use it unless I need it. And when I need it, I put it onto the wheel, work the area of the wheel where the embedded fallout is, contamination, with a very heavy, hard brush and get it off, and then rinse that product off. You should glove up. You want to avoid just using this routinely on cars and spraying it all over the caliper and brake discs because it's highly corrosive acid. So it's a targeted tool that's just very effective. People have said in the comments they've updated the formula and made it a little bit less aggressive. That wouldn't be a good thing for me, and haven't done a comparison on all of the best wheel acids, and maybe we'll do it. I might try the Crystal Clean Detail Demon Devil's Juice. I've tried it already, and that's a good acid concentrate, so it might offer me a bit more value. So eventually we may well do a wheel acid comparison on the channel. That's probably something we should do. But yeah, Wonder Wheels, yeah, it's a really powerful product, which is what I love. The next thing, we'll go to rinseless washes. So these are a little bit of a detailing niche product. They're an alternative to contact wash shampoos, where you don't have to rinse off the material, you wipe it off. So if you've got water restrictions, etc., you can wash your car with this. This can replace an automotive shampoo. They don't function well as pre-washes. They don't function well as wheel cleaners. I don't even think they function that well as glass cleaners. If you ever got a greasy glass interior, you need something to cut through it. They don't function that well as degreasers. They function as an alternative to a contact wash product, but they're a concentrate, and they also make good quick detailers, very affordable quick detailers and very affordable clay lubes, and they're versatile, and I think you probably should have a rinseless wash in your arsenal. I recommend the Koch Rapid Rinseless Wash because at £12.95 for a litre, it offers fantastic value. In fact, significantly cheaper than the other products on the market when we compared 12 of them. It's really good on the residue. Has a slight acidic nature to it, but once it's mixed out, it's going to be close to pH neutral. I find it's really good on water spots as well, and greasy marks. I find it smooth and slick, and I also find it doesn't leave any streaky marks. It's really good on that front, bird poo and all that sort of stuff. So your rinseless wash is probably a product that you would want to have on your shelf for those types of scenarios. Next up, glass cleaners. Now, when we did the best of glass cleaners many years ago, got the bin men there, the noise is probably coming through on the mic. When we did the best glass cleaners many years ago, my winner was the Nil Glass. I think it was called G3 Pro Nil Glass or something, which was £12.95 for 5 litres. So that's an alternative. That is highly effective, alcohol based. I think it's alcohol, solvent, ethanol cocktail. Very smooth, very affordable, and it won the test, and lots of people recommended it. Since that test, Bilt Hamber released a glass cleaner called Trace-less here, which is, in my opinion, it's different to other glass cleaners. 99% of those other glass cleaners in the test were a cocktail of alcohol, solvents, and a tiny bit of surfactant. This is a different material that's a lot stronger. If you ever peel off a tax disc or a sticker on the inside and there's a little bit of glue residue, you try a normal glass cleaner, it doesn't touch it. This will just strip it straight off. It's very powerful, and it's chemically, the way it unlocks, contamination is different to a water-based alcohol solvent cleaner. So I think, even though I haven't done the side-by-side testing, I think Traceless is probably the most effective glass cleaner on the market. It's 100% volatile, so when it does vape off, it leaves nothing behind. Not that that's a major problem, but it's if there's anything on the glass when you've finished and it's vaped, it isn't the product, it's the stuff that's been wiping around. You might have had a greasy cloth or something. So yeah, very powerful, very low surface tension, so it sticks to the glass as well, like creates a puddle on the glass that doesn't want to just run down, so it wets out the glass really well. Yeah, very, very good product. So that is the majority of wash products for me. You could say, well, John, you haven't got like a dedicated wheel cleaner there. No, because Surfex HD at 1 to 10 works like an alkaline wheel cleaner. Some alkaline wheel cleaners have a bit of caustic material in them, or can even be more potent than Surfex, but the difference is quite minimal. Okay, so there is the wash products covered, guys. Yeah, and that's a good set of recommendations on stuff which is very affordable, very good, and it's all really my favourites. Next we go on to the decontamination process. So getting stuff after you've washed, you've got to go through that little decon process to remove stuff off the paintwork which will never be removed by traditional washing methods. So you either need to use physical abrasion with clay material, which we'll talk about, or chemical decontamination, stronger chemicals that you generally do as a precursor to claying, to break down those things. So we'll start with the mechanical claying process. I think again, we haven't done a comparison on this, but perhaps the best clay bar on the market may be the Bilt Hamber range of clay. Certainly it's the most, be careful, but it's one of the most affordable products on the market. I don't know if there's other clay bars now that are cheaper, branded clay bars. It's around £12, £11 for 200 ml. They do a light, a medium, and a regular. The regular, the most aggressive, you'd use for overspray. Most other times you would use the light one. It's having three is a bit of a complexity, but there's a reason, isn't it? Different abrasive levels. The milder one is the white one is generally acceptable for most forms of contamination. Overspray, you need the heavy one. Okay. Now, I'm also a big fan of kind of this new generation of clay media. This is a perforated clay towel. This has bite. This has more bite than the other. Well, not got to do it on a product by product basis, but this has a lot of bite, and I find them a little bit more aggressive actually than the other kind of clay pad or clay mitt formula. This clay cloth is an AliExpress one that was normally £7, but it was reduced to like £3 something, and it's good quality. It's the same rubber as far as I can see, or the same material here. It's got good bite, and the cloth is nice and thick, and it's actually high quality. I don't normally buy AliExpress stuff, but every now I got an email from them. If you buy something and you don't buy something, you get an email saying, you know, shop here for these prices. And I saw this for £3 and I thought, wow, I'm just going to try it. I thought it'd be rubbish. It's really good. So that's the AliExpress clay cloth. Yeah, the difference, as I've explained recently, is I think you can cover ground so much quicker with the clay cloth. So if you have chunks of contamination everywhere and all over the front bumper and stuff, or it's your car, generally I'll go with a clay bar. If you've got one day to detail a car and you've got like 20 minutes to clay off the surface, then it's just a no-brainer. The clay cloths, I think, are the way to go. I often, yeah, with newer cars, I find. Now, two really important chemicals: tar and glue remover, and fallout remover. Now, if your car is plastered in a film of tar from 10 years of no polishing and protection and no claying, trying to clay it all off is hard work. And if your clay is constantly getting brown film every pass, then it's generally in your interest to, just before you clay, go over it with a tar and glue, soak out a cloth with it, wipe it down, flip the cloth or get another cloth, and just buff and pull up that tar film, okay? If ever you've got adhesive stickers to remove off cars and stuff like that, this product as well just melts off that glue. Very strong industrial product, very affordable at about £30 for 5 litres. Emulsifiers in it so you can rinse it off as well. So it can be used a bit more. If it's got emulsifiers in it, then it fits. You can fit it in to when you're washing the car a bit more, rather than if it doesn't have emulsifiers, you have to get the car bone dry, and you can't rinse it off because hydrocarbon rejects water. So you have to wait for it to flash off with traditional hydrocarbon panel wipes. So I think Tardis is perhaps the most powerful tar and glue remover on the market, and it just breaks the back of removing that stuff. It really does. It makes it all easy, and you just build a respect for that product from how well it serves you. Track rubber as well, just eats it off. Be careful with it. Don't let it dwell on sensitive surfaces. Melt the material, melt the contamination off, then you'll be fine. Fallout remover. Now, you could get a wheel cleaner that has fallout remover in it, but I opt, just so I don't have to have two chemicals, I opt to have a dedicated fallout remover, and this is Bilt Hamber Korrosol, is it? Or is it Ferrosol? No, it's Korrosol, isn't it? Bilt Hamber Korrosol. Apologies if I got the name wrong. I'm pretty sure it's Korrosol. Why? For me, it's the fastest acting fallout remover on the market. So I've explained before, when you see a purple reaction, that is one oxide, rust, turning into a soluble oxide, iron thioglycolic oxide. So purple means rust reacting and turning to the soluble oxide. Some fallout removers, you can put them on and they just slowly, they're so slow, and you're waiting for them, and like, you know, you can lower the amount of the thioglycolic acid and you'll still get a reaction and the product works, and you could then put surfactants in it that are, you know, rich and foamy, and you could still have an effective product, but it's just watered down. In my head, this is formulated to be as effective and rapid and potent as you could get a fallout remover to be. It's cheaper. It's 1 litre cost. It's like £12.95 for a litre, and most of them are like £12.95 for 500 ml. I think it's about 50 quid for 5 litres, which is not a cheap bulk price, but it's such a good chemical. It's probably worth it. Sometimes you can get 5 litres of fallout for like on sale with the manufacturers for like 15 quid, and you could argue that they're such a bargain that you should really opt for those. But still, it's a quality product, and it's probably what I'll go for, and 5 litres will last me a long time. Now, what else do I need to say about fallout removers? Fallout removers, when you use them on paintwork, make a great precursor to claying, because they dissolve all of the oxide layer off of the embedded particles, and at which point they're easier to remove. If you don't clay and you melt the oxide layer off, you're kind of wasting the opportunity then to remove the contamination properly, because a wash mitt or a rubbing them or pressure washing them isn't as aggressive, and some of that bonded ferrous components will stay in there. So it's an ideal precursor to claying, though there are benefits to just chemical decontamination with fallout removers. If you're going to use it as a wheel cleaner, then generally, if you're using a wheel cleaner fallout remover, then you put it on when it's caked on with dirt and just let it do the work for you, and they're very effective and very powerful. You know, the auto wheels is very effective and powerful. If you're using the fallout remover that's more for the paintwork, perhaps just clean the wheels off first with a cheaper chemical like Surfex HD, and just get rid of it, all of the stuff that washes off first, and that will leave you with all the stuff that won't wash off and is embedded, the ferrous brake dust and stuff that's embedded in. Then you can use less chemical and kind of just target the fallout that's embedded. So you can do it that way, but you might want a fallout remover wheel cleaner as well. This functions very well as a wheel cleaner. It's hard to tell the difference unless it's a really dirty alloy and you're pushing the limits of what you can do with a fallout remover. Then you'll notice how the auto wheels has got some more powerful surfactants in it, which are good wheel cleaners in their own right. But that is Bilt Hamber Korrosol fallout remover. Next up in the category of decontamination products. First of all, again, another sector that we haven't explored that thoroughly is water spot removers or descalers, and we're gearing up to do a comparison. This is the Wax is Dead descaler, which is an acidic product that you can spray onto water spots, let it sit there, get that wet film of the product on there, and you can tell it's an acid, you can smell it's an acid, and it just eats away, and then you wipe back over and the water spot should lift up. So Yeah, there's other good ones. The Koch Chemie FSE, but that's got PDMS. It's got protection products in it, which aren't always suitable. So that's a bit of a dilemma, actually. But I think I want a pure water spot remover that doesn't contain that. So we'll explore that later on the channel. You do also need an odour remover for the interior, or where you get, like, someone spilt milk or dog poo or dog sick or baby sick or food that's ground into fabrics and is full of bacteria, and it neutralises that bacteria and kills it off and targets the source of smell. You need an odour remover. I've got the Gyeon one here. Again, it's an area we haven't targeted with a best of comparison. And it would be difficult to test. I'd probably beyond my means to test. I'd have to really think about how you could come up with a meaningful test. Very tough, that one. So there you have a category of decontamination products, I think, which are going to serve you pretty well. And even if you don't follow these, you may have a tar and glue remover in your arsenal that's fine. So don't suddenly feel like you've got to go and buy this one if you've got a product that works. But this might just give you some ideas if you don't have that product, or if you're not happy with your product or whatever. But these are all good products. So next we're going to move to abrasives and polishing, okay? This is a tough one as well. So for me, right now I could recommend you a whole range of different abrasives like Koch Chemie, rupes, Sonax, Menzerna. The list goes on. Again, I'm looking for kind of abrasive pedigree for me. I'm looking for an OEM abrasive manufacturer that's used by body shops and used at an OEM kind of level by OEM car manufacturers and stuff like that. So I go with Scholl Concepts abrasives, although, yeah, I mean, Koch make a good argument because some of those products are just as good, really. There's a nice oiliness to the Scholl stuff. I tend to reach for it. And so do a lot of the people I speak to as well. Now, really, with polishing, you need 3 abrasives. If you're just doing it at home, you could probably get away with 1. Just contradicting myself there. If you're doing it professionally, you need at least 3. I'm not doing it professionally, but I want 3. I want 3, and I'll explain why. The first thing is you want a heavy cutting compound. If you have a wet sand on paint, if you ever have a car with hard paint and deep swirls, you want the heaviest hammer that's going to be able to cut away major defects as rapidly as possible. But typically when you use the heavy hammers, the high cut compounds, or historically they can be harder to buff off the paintwork, they can generate more heat, they can be more prone to buffer trails, they can leave a much lower level quality of finish, like a sort of hazy finish, depending on what pad you use them with. The thing about the Scholl Concept stuff is it's a pretty high gloss finish, and you could almost get away with the finish of this. Your eyes would struggle. It's a very high gloss finish because it's diminishing compound. It's a very smooth product and it buffs off the paintwork nice. Now here I've got S3 Gold XXL. Once I've used that, I would shift to the heavy hammer being S2 Black, which is realistically their most one of their most high cut compounds that has that same characteristic of being high gloss finish and very easy to buff. Just a little bit more cut than the S3, but not much in it. So I don't need to rush out and get the S2, but I'll just phase over to it. So S2 Black, don't worry about the word black. It doesn't mean it's for black cars. In the middle, the mid-range product, or the product that really, if you're just looking for one polish to do everything at home, cut out deeper defects, but also finish even more to a higher level. So it's a different window, slightly less cut, but much higher finish, or not much higher, slightly higher finish. Most of the cut goes away quite quickly on this. It's that initial pass where your cut's at the max, and you do see quite a quick breakdown. S20 Black is a really good product, because it doesn't let you down when you use it on different paint types. You can virtually always use it. Sometimes you'll go and use an abrasive and you just won't get the result you're looking for with a single stage or whatever you're using, whatever combo. It might be the paint type. I find this, even on soft paints, this finishes down. Sometimes you get really soft paints and like you do your polishing set and you look at it in the light and it's not what you want. It's not giving you the finish that you want. This, even on my test panel, which is like chocolate, because the steel on the test panel isn't as hard as automotive steel and the whole overall paint system is very soft. This just, yeah, deals with it. It's really good. And it can take out sanding marks and all that sort of stuff. It's brilliant. This is S20 Black. It's the new Swiss edition, which is a non-VOC formula that's meant to be slightly easier to buff, because the original S20 could sometimes bed down a little bit on the paint, as we discussed. That's a phenomenal product, that is, S20 Black. Yeah, phenomenal. Love it. Our finishing polish, S40, this is their ultra fine finishing polish. So it's really about taking out any compounding haze, or you've cut and you haven't got an acceptable level of gloss when you're really looking at it up close with light and you want to really shine it up, or you've got a car that isn't swirled up, that you don't want to even use a single stage on because that will cut away more clear coat. You just want to gloss up your paint. S40 is the way to go. S30 is their finishing polish with a little bit more cut, but I find you don't need both, and I think if I had to pick one or the other, the one that is the ultra fine is the way I would go. Yeah, S40, again, it's so easy to use and so easy to buff because it doesn't have that cut. You're not generating as much heat, you're not drying the carrier out, you're using less product, just whiz over the paint, buff it off. It's brilliant. Yeah, the Scholl stuff isn't cheap, but it also isn't top of market. Just to give you a quick comparison, nowadays about 35 quid a litre of abrasive would be cheap. That might be like Ferekla or Raw prices. Mid 40s is your kind of where you're at with your Koches, your Scholls, your Menzonas and that sort of stuff. And then top of market is north of 60, which seems to be, from memory, Sonax, possibly Cartech, and some of these other brands that got very good abrasives, but they're just that little bit more expensive, well, significantly more expensive. So yeah, I don't want Scholl to go up any more in price, because if it goes north of 50, I start getting twitchy. That rhymed. So those are the three main abrasives that you use. There's some other abrasives, metal polishes, if you've got wheels or any metal that you want to shine up and bring back the brilliance. Well, the white diamond stood out for me when we did the PVD Pro Detailers mega test. It's a bit old school, it's not well emulsified, it's got a little hole in the lid that cakes up a little bit. But if you use it properly, get a good amount on there and work it, I find it gives you a really good finish. Funnily enough, well, I won't add any more complexity, but their metal polishing is very complicated and I don't have all that much knowledge of it. This might not be the best tool of choice if you're sanding stuff and you're going through multiple phases, where again you might need a more aggressive cut one and then a finishing one, because if they're really aggressive they can hologram the metal and stuff like that. But this seems to be a good mid-range one that works well on machine and hand. It also leaves protection down that stops that metal oxidizing again and helps preserve the finish. Good for exhaust tip polishing. So that's white diamond metal polish. Another one that you will need is glass polish, because again, surfactants and glass cleaner, even traceless, can't remove embedded, bonded, dried on films and previous protection films on glass. So Bilt Hamber recently released a Bilt Hamber Review, which is a glass polish, very powerful, not the most lubey, it needs a bit of water, but it doesn't have to strip whatever's on there. Very powerful cerium oxide product, and very affordable as well for $16.95. I haven't extensively tested it, but I think for the price point, it may well be the way to go with glass polish. The only exception to that is for a consumer product. This Glyco compound is very effective, and it comes in this really good applicator. I've decanted the Bilt Hamber into here. The applicator is brilliant. That was always a really effective product as well. But yeah, that probably edges it on price, doesn't it? It's a lot more affordable. So there you go. In the polishing category as well, you need panel wipe. I've come to the conclusion that just mixing out IPA and water for most water-soluble abrasives is perhaps the way to go for affordability. So you could take 5 litres, there's Bonnyman's 99% proof IPA. You could take that and mix it out from as little as 15% IPA to 85% water, or maybe up to like 25% IPA to water. You could go stronger. Don't go above 70% IPA to water, but I would stay below 50, maybe 25% seems a good, sensible ratio. You can add a little squirt of surfactant in there, tiny little amount of surfactant just to help the emulsification. But I find that works for inspection wipe downs. It's cheaper than buying branded panel wipes. If you don't want to buy just pure IPA, Koch have a product called Koch Chemie Seal, which is basically pure alcohol solvent, maybe a slight tweak of just pure alcohol solvent, but you use it as if it were pure alcohol solvent and mix it the same way, around 1 to 4, 1 to 3 to 1 to 4. But it's a little bit more expensive than buying the IPA, and the differences are too minimal to notice. Yeah, so that's what I do with that. And that IPA mix does also make a good glass cleaner, to the point where if you're using it regularly and you don't need a really powerful one, it will function as a glass cleaner. Even at lower ratios, a bit of rubbing alcohol, alcohol solvent down at 5 to 10% with water makes a good little interior panel wipe as well. But you do need to be careful using IPA on sensitive surfaces and stuff. So yeah, perhaps just stick your panel wipe as panel wipe and use it that way. So that's covered washing, decontamination and abrasives, and they're all pretty good options actually. They're all pretty good options. Yeah. So now we move over to the final stage, protection, and I've got quite a lot of products here. You could definitely simplify this and minimize it more if you were less into your detailing. Now, first of all, you need a dressing, a tyre dressing, a leather dressing, a cockpit dressing, an exterior plastic dressing. And Carpro Pearl is a concentrate that you mix down with water. You can mix it like 5 to 1 or something, get it all thin and watery and use it, spray it over things or spray it into a microfiber applicator and dress things out. You can use it 1 to 1, a bit thicker on a brush, and wipe it over a tyre, and it's good. It's not too shiny and greasy and silicone-y, it's SiO2 based. But at 1 to 1 it will have a bit of gloss, but down at 1 to 5 it's more a darkening kind of thing going on and a bit of richness coming back. Relatively simple. Don't over concentrate it, especially on exterior rubbers. Some people say they can get spots with it and stuff, but if I had problems with this, I wouldn't use it. It's just a really good product, and that would be perhaps the best value from a really good brand, Carpro as well. A very versatile product. You can use it on leather seats as well, like I said. So that's probably got you covered for all your dressing requirements of plastic and rubber and stuff like that. Now we move on to forms of protection for your paintwork. So the best way to think of that is waxes, sealants and ceramic coatings. So if we just start with paste waxes, I mean, if I just cut to the chase and say the Bilt Hamber double speed wax for $16.99 is a really high quality, durable, hydrophobic carnauba backboned paste wax that's just great value for money. It's probably the one where, if you're not really into your waxes, it's a no-brainer recommendation. just for some subtle reasons, I think the Autglyms Ultra High Definition might be a slightly better wax. It's a slightly softer wax. It's slightly easier to buff after it's cured. It's just as hydrophobic. Perhaps not quite as durable, but not far off. It has a slight premium feel to it, but it's expensive. It can be like, don't quote me on the price, but it can be somewhere 40 or 50 quid and you only get 120 mil. So it's not like a bargain kind of recommendation. I've got a pot of the old Fusso wax here, which is the most durable non-ceramic coating protection roughly that you'll get on the market. The new one's not quite as durable, but I've got 2 bottles of the old one. But yeah, that's just to give you some ideas. But you might get into your waxes and want to try more, and I've got a fridge full of all my favourite waxes there. But Belt and Braces recommendation, Bilt Hamber double speed. There you go. Now, all-in-one polishes. So this, you could argue this should be in the abrasive category, but I don't think it's an abrasive product as such. It might have a slight scrubbing abrasive effect, especially when you use it by machine, but effectively it's a high gloss glaze with a very slick finish and a very slick buff. I love it. You know, it's such a versatile product. You use it on a stiffer pad to take off previous films of coatings and just reset your paint, tidy it up. Sometimes you've had protection on your car for 2 or 3 months and you bring the car into the garage and it just doesn't look as crisp as you want it. And that's what I'll put on there, even though it's old school wax. It's a really good product. It's affordable as well. You can use the white version of it. Is it white diamond? I can't remember what it's called. White something rather. White something. But Blackhole, I've used it on lighter colour cars as well, even though it's got may have some pigment in it. I don't believe in all that black, you know, stuff for black cars really, unless it's really heavily pigmented. You know, that you could use on anything. Well, don't quote me on that. In a similar fashion, perhaps, again, this might be a bit of a luxury product. This is a finishing product with a nano sealant in it. So sometimes if you're jumping from a compounded finish to a finishing polish, and you're doing a finishing polish stage, it's nice that when you buff this off, that's it, you're done, rather than having to compound the car, which could be days of work, finish the car, which could be hours of work, typically, could be days, and then go around the paintwork a third time, buffing on a material. And you can use that a bit like the Poorboys to reset your paint and top up protection again. You don't need both, but this perhaps slightly more professionally orientated and a bit more abrasive than the Poorboys. Thought it was worth mentioning. It was very cheap when it first came out. I think it's still reasonably affordable actually. Okay, so we've done glazes and AOIs, we've done dressings, we've done paste waxes. The best liquid sealant, you know, it's like an emulsion, you know, a paste almost in a bottle, a heavier product that I've used is the jesscar Ultralock Plus. So it's a thick cream. You can apply it out over a panel by machine. It's non-abrasive though, but again, that machine application, you can tweak that with use a polishing pad rather than the finishing pad and work the paint a bit more and work the product and clear out what's on the panel. It hazes up and you buff it. The reason I think this is the best is because that buff is phenomenal. You let it completely dry out to a haze and you just glide the microfiber over it and the paintwork is sliding, glossy, and it's just that when you go to buff it and you take it off the car, it's like boom. Its durability is good. It's not mega hydrophobic by some modern product standards where you get the big massive juicy beads and all that. No, it is hydrophobic, sheds off the water, but it's probably, like I've just said, it's just the ease of use and buff is a very important thing for me. And sometimes you can put a sealant on, it doesn't fully ever cure, it can be tacky, they can just not be great, and you're just like, no. Because when you've done all that work polishing, you don't want the last thing where you're on the home straight to go wrong or to be difficult. So yeah, I really like this product. It's just very, very good, but hard to obtain in the UK, although there is a seller that sells it on eBay or something, and I'll try and find that link where it's not too unreasonable. It might be like 30 quid a litre or something. I can't remember. Don't quote me on the price. But it can be reasonably priced. But it's not... Jesscar is supposed to be the American division of Menzerner, or a license to sell the Menzerner stuff under their name in America. And Jesscar, I think, released a load of sealants, Powerlock Plus or something, Powerlock, and then Ultralock Plus, which is a ceramic version, you know, not ceramic coating version of their Powerlock. Yeah, and I just really like it. Okay. So we've done waxes and sealants. I have here another choice, and this is more for having fun. You might want to just pick one of these products, but Ceramix Lustrous, I've had this for over a year now, and it hasn't gone bad. People said it all gels up, and maybe it does, but this hasn't. Been through heat and the cold winter. It's still in good nick. It's like a liquid sealant, but it's durable and it's beady. It's quite impressive, that. It's not cheap, but that's a good liquid sealant. That's caught my eye out of all the stuff that I tested. Of course, you have now the water-based spray sealants, which almost identify like spray waxes or even quick detailers. The Seal and Shine at 22 quid for 5 litres in the UK is the best value you'll ever get. And like, it's durable as well. And it's like, I find it easy to use. You can use less if you're struggling with it. You know, don't hurl on these products. They are powerful. So mist into the cloth, wipe over the panel if you're really worried, or one mist on the panel, spread, flip, buff, you get the idea. These are virtually the same. This is a bit more of a wax cocktail. This is, I don't think, wax based. I slightly prefer the bead coat. I don't know why. It's thinner. It melts into the panel and vapes really nice. But you can get 5 litres of the Seal and Shine for what that bottle costs. So it's a bit of a no-brainer. But I'm going to make sure I use all of this. That's hard to get through as well. These last because you don't use a lot. But probably Turtle Wax wins on value there. Glass sealant. I still think the Soft 99 Glaco Ultra is my favourite. It's reasonably affordable. It's easy to apply. It's durable. It is durable. That's one thing. I don't get wiper judder with it, and some people might do. I can't remember if they report it with this, but every glass sealant, unfortunately, is prone to either giving you wiper judder. Well, not every glass sealant, but I've seen it reported for every one that I've mentioned. Someone will have a problem with wiper judder or ghosting. How you apply it can be critical, but your wiper blades can play a role in that, and your type of car and the pressure. And it's like when you put these sealants on, they repel the water, so you don't get that water film that sticks to the glass when it's heavy raining, which is like this water is lubing it. So you almost get a rubber on a dry blade. And when they're fresh, you can sometimes get a little initial bit of bouncing, which disappears. But this is PTFE based, so it's lower friction. And after you've applied it, you should feel that nice slidey feeling. But yeah, so that's my favourite glass coating, or whatever, glass sealant. We'll move on to ceramic coatings, but I find that Gyeon Coat is a lightweight ceramic Coat Evo. It beads like crazy. I think it says it lasts up to 18 months now, or 12 months, I'm not sure. But I was probably applying this a little bit wrong. I kind of treated it like a ceramic coating. You know, it's got some similarities, and I would kind of like cross hatch it out on the panel and use it quite formally. And then I thought, you might as well use a ceramic coating. You get too much of that product. But when I did the video with Gyeon, the summer thing, they kind of just wash off the car, decon the car, get a fresh microfiber and spray it, or microfiber applicator, spray it into the pad, and then just wipe over your panel and then go, just do it like a water-based one, a bit more informally. And it works great if you do that. So yeah, it can top up ceramic coatings as well. You get too much of it. It's very hard to use all of this as a guy at home. But you could say that about all of these products. It's whatever you prefer. It's like a halfway house between full-blown coatings. With ceramic coatings, I use Gyeon Rim for my wheels, and I mainly use coatings for wheels. I notice that benefit. I still notice it now on my Porsche after track days. It's still easy to clean the wheels. I don't need to use those acids or anything like that. I'll probably degrade the coating. It's a nice beady hydrophobic ceramic coating which seems to last really well. I think it might say like they last a year, but for me, you should get like 2 or 3 years out of them, especially on the calipers. Maybe they'll go first in the barrels. Ceramic coatings for cars, I'd probably go with Gyeon Moss on its own, just a single coating, and then maintain it with a ceramic detailer, which we'll talk about now. Or before we move on to ceramic detailers, I think my personal favourite spray and rinse is still Gyeon Wet Coat. This product, though, doesn't fall into that category like most of the other stuff of being the best value on the market. It isn't. They do have a concentrated version, but I just buy this one, as I've said before. I should buy the concentrate. Why don't I use some of the other spray and rinse ones, like Koch Chemie Protector Wax, or Sonax have got one that are like, you get a litre of all these and you mix them down, they're a lot more value. First of all, I could do, and they might be okay. I use this mainly now to top up the coating in wheels, and because it's not a cocktail of wax. It's not a wax emulsion, and it has self-cleaning. So I find after I've coated my wheels, if I use this every couple of months, my wheels are constantly buzzing like I've just applied the coating, and that's part of it, part of what it does for me. You can use it on paintwork. That's what it's for. Spray it onto your panels and wipe off and dress it. I don't tend to do that. In the summer, I'm more of a waxing guy and buffing on the paintwork. In the winter, yes, yeah, absolutely, you could. But for me, I tend to use it more for wheels. It's the self-cleaning that they don't advertise anymore. They used to advertise about the self-cleaning. Oh yeah, self-cleaning properties. That's the reason that is my favourite. When I did a test many years ago, and I put all of these spray and rinses on stripes on a panel and left the test panel outside, when that test panel had got covered in dirt and I had all these different spray and rinses on there, I went to clean it. And the first thing I did when I cleaned it was rinse it off. And as soon as I rinsed across the panel, the strip that had wet coat on it was hydrophobic and repelling the water. Not like fresh, but I could see it, like parting of the water. The rest of them, the water just sat on top of them. And I thought, wow, they've all failed. And this wet coat's got really good durability. Then I cleaned the panel back, and then all the other ones were buzzing and hydrophobic again. The Gyeon was the only one that was buzzing before I cleaned it back. And that's when I thought, well, so the self-cleaning must work. The dirt hadn't blocked up that section of the panel. So I don't think the self-cleaning claim is all BS and marketing with this product. And yeah, that's why I still use it to this day. We'll now move on to detail sprays. We've delved into it very deeply on the channel this year. Bilt Hamber Auto QD as a tool, a charged polymer thing. So it's supposed to be, you can use it as a rinseless as well, and it's supposed to help that marring by the polymer sort of like encapsulating the dirt, the kind of rinseless tech. It does have a good darkening effect on the panel and a good glossing effect. It does smell as well. It's got a scent. I think it's the only Bilt Hamber product that smells. It smells like a strawberry or something. I don't really care about that. But perhaps with the detail spray, you should have it. And you can use it on door cards and stuff. So if you're spraying it around on the interiors, a scent is fine. But it's the value for money proposition. I use it at 1 to 9 with DI water so that I can mix up a litre of it and it costs me pounds or pennies rather than 15, 20 quid for a bottle. I'm now going to show you a quick detail, which is I think 18 quid, maybe 18.95. I can't remember, for 500 mil. So this is the opposite. It's very expensive. This is the Feynlab hybrid ceramic detailer. It was my favourite out of all of the ones that I checked, and did the best detail spray 2025. It's very strong stuff. It's very rich. It's very slick as you use it. When you use this product and you put a layer of it down, in 2 weeks time when you wash your car, the paintwork feels slick. And again, I'm not sure if it's in my head, but it feels like the panel is easy to clean. I don't know if it's repelling contamination more or anything. I haven't been around it long enough to know, but I love it when I go and wash my car and I feel the slickness with the wash mitt as well, and then you dry it. I don't use it as a drying aid because I think it's a little bit too rich, and you know, I want to hurl products on as drying aids perhaps. If you are going to use it as a drying aid, I would just spray into the cloth, wipe over, clean cloth, wipe, you know, and I'd get most of the water off first and then go and use it to tidy up the panels afterwards. I would almost think of this as a little bit more like an easy to use ceramic spray sealant. If you're using it on top of wax, it can grab a little bit on the first application because it may well have some solvent in it, alcohol solvent or other solvents or whatever, to keep it all stable, that might just bite into the wax. But after you put that initial application down, the next time you put a layer of it down, you notice it. You notice the slickness. You also, even if you apply it on top of a wax, you're spreading it out and you can just feel that little bite initially. But as it then vapes, it starts slickening up. Yeah, and it goes really slick. You do not want to use too much of this product. You don't want to go spraying 3 or 4 sprays onto a panel, stuff like that. No, yeah, less is definitely more with this. Very powerful, very durable, very beady, really high in users' kind of satisfaction, and very well branded. Will I buy more when it goes? I don't know, possibly not, but it's very good. I just want to tell you about it because it deserves a little nod, because part of the channel is not just to tell you about everything that's the cheapest. It's also to tell you about stuff that I explore and it just stands out as being good, and that's worthy of a little doff of the cap. Good stuff. The other thing you're going to need is an air freshener. So I still think these designer fragrance, the Azul is a good one. Very powerful things. They're pretty affordable. Just one little squirt in the cockpit. I do like these Gyeon scents as well. Very powerful. This little bottle of liquid probably will last you longer than an aerosol can. But the Gyeon's not cheap either. It's high concentrated though. We've explored air fresheners many years ago. I don't think I need to explore it again. Either of these will do you fine. I like the Black Knight. I don't like a fruity thing in the cabinet now. I prefer a gangster thing. As long as it's not too gangster, too aftershavey. Right. Well, yeah, they're quite gangster, but I like them. They're strong. They last. The scents last. So there we go. Jesus, that was a lot to get through, guys. That was a lot to get through. We're just under 1 hour. I love all of these products here, and it's the result of 10 years worth of exploration. Yeah, are there stuff missing? Well, like I say, we haven't covered like brushes and stuff like that, and we've tried to stay away from physical products, although there's a little exception there. This should give you some ideas. I want to say the key point is don't go and bin all of your protection products and I'll go and throw my glaze away and I'll go and buy Poorboys. I'll go and throw my glass cleaner away and buy Trace-less. No, all your detailing chemicals are good. The main thing is you should do with them is use them up. And then this should hopefully give you some ideas once you've used them up to go and buy something or try something different if you want to. The other thing is, as well, most of these products here, or virtually all of them, that's why I'm showing them to you, the stuff that I will go back and buy more of. There may be 1 or 2 exceptions, areas I haven't explored with like water spots, like deodorizers, odor eliminators, maybe that expensive detail spray. But generally, all of this stuff offers value and good performance. Or with the LSP stuff, there's some glamour boys in there, and I've given you some of the reasons why I opt for those. I'm looking for, I've said it before, I said it in the intro, I'm looking for excellence, I'm looking for pedigree, I'm looking for reasons to buy products. Down here, it's mainly, it's good surfactant pedigree. I think you'll struggle to beat Bilt Hamber for surfactant pedigree. Here again, in the decontamination, I'm looking for, I don't want it to be difficult to remove decontamination. If I'm claying something that's covered in contamination, it's hard work, I've not done my chemical decom well enough, or I'm not using the appropriate media. Deconning needs to be quite quick and rapid and stuff like that, because you haven't always got loads of time. These are all quality, and these are some real stonking LSP products. There we go, guys. Let me know in the comments what you find useful, what you like, and thank you for watching. These videos are always long. Let me know if you've also made it to the end of the video. Take care. Bye for now. Doug.